All right, let's dive into building your personal playbook for one of the most powerful things nature can throw at us, an earthquake. Now, this isn't about being scared. It's about being smart. It's about feeling in control and knowing exactly what to do. So let's build this playbook together, step by step.
You remember that old story, right? The grasshopper just goofed off all summer, but the ant was busy, working hard, getting ready for winter. And when the snow came, well, you know who was warm and safe. It's the perfect story about being prepared. So just take a second and be honest with yourself right now. Are you the ant or are you the grasshopper? Don't worry, by the time we're done here, you are going to be 100% the ant.
So let's start with the big question. Why does this all matter so much? Well, if you live in a place like British Columbia, earthquakes aren't some distant what-if scenario. Nope. They are baked right into the geology and the history of the very ground we live on. And honestly, understanding that risk is the first step to truly respecting it.
Look at that number. Magnitude 9. That is huge. And here's the thing. It isn't a guess or a computer model. That's the estimated size of the Cascadia earthquake that actually hit this province way back on January 26, 1700. It was so massive, it created a tsunami that traveled all the way across the ocean to Japan. So this isn't some new threat. It's a historical fact.
This quote, wow, it comes from an earthquake program manager, and it just hits the nail on the head. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And you know what? Seismologists say the odds of a major quake hitting in the next 50 years are as high as 1 in 3. So this isn't about maybe anymore, it's about when.
Okay, enough about the threat itself. Let's switch gears and talk about what you can actually do about it. This part is all about taking back control. These are the simple, concrete steps you can take right now, long before the ground even thinks about moving, to make your home and your family a whole lot safer.
Here's a really critical fact that most people don't realize. In an earthquake, it's usually not the building collapsing that causes injuries. It's your stuff. We're talking about your bookcase tipping over, that heavy mirror falling off the wall, everything flying out of your cupboards. Each of these bullet points, that's a simple weekend project that could literally prevent a serious injury.
Now listen up, because this is a point where a lot of people get confused. You don't just need one emergency kit, you need two very different kinds. Think of your home emergency kit as your bunker. It's the big one, meant for you to hunker down and survive at home for maybe even a week or two. But the grab-and-go bag, that's your escape pod. It's a small, personal bag for everyone in the house that you can snatch in a second if you have to get out fast. Two totally different jobs, both absolutely vital.
All right, every household needs a playbook for when things get chaotic. So why an out-of-town contact? Easy. Local phone lines are going to be completely jammed, but a long-distance call might just sneak through. And 2 meeting places? Well, what if your first choice is right in a danger zone? But you know, the most important part of this whole thing is that it can't just be a piece of paper. It has to be a conversation, a drill that you actually practice with everyone you live with. So, you've prepped your space, you've got your kits, but what about the most critical moment of all, the shaking itself? When it starts, you are not going to have time to pull out a manual. You're just going to have time to react. So the goal here is to make the right reaction pure muscle memory. This, right here, these 3 words. If you forget everything else we talk about today, please remember these 3 words. This is the single most important, universally recommended, life-saving thing you can do. Let's burn it into our brains. Drop, cover, hold on.
So why these 3 specific actions? Well, each one has a very important job. You drop to your hands and knees so the quake doesn't throw you down and injure you. You cover your head and neck, the most vulnerable parts of your body, from falling debris, and you hold on to whatever you're under because guess what? That table is going to be moving, and you need to move with it to stay protected.
Imagine it's the middle of the night. It's terrifying. Your first instinct might be to jump out of bed and run, right? Well, don't. That's the wrong move. You're actually much safer in your bed, protected from broken glass on the floor or other flying objects. So just stay put. Roll onto your stomach, grab a pillow, and cover your head and neck.
What if you're driving? It might feel like you suddenly got 4 flat tires. The first thing to do is recognize what's happening. Now, your car is a pretty decent shock absorber, so it's a relatively safe place to be. The real key is getting away from things that can fall on your car. So pull over to a clear spot, away from bridges, overpasses, and power lines. Then just stop, put the brake on, and stay inside.
And it's so important that this advice works for absolutely everyone. If you use a wheelchair, the principles are exactly the same, just adapted. Lock your wheels so you stay put. Don't try to transfer. Then, just like everyone else, Cover your head and neck with your arms, a thick book, whatever you've got. The goal is always the same. Protect yourself from things that are falling.
And then it stops. There's this strange, eerie silence. This is an incredibly critical moment. What you do in these first few minutes and hours can make a huge difference for your safety and for everyone around you. So what are the very next things you need to do?
Before you move a single muscle, I want you to do one thing. Count to 60, a full minute. I know, it's going to feel like an eternity, but it's so important. That pause gives all the things that were shifted and wobbled during the quake a chance to finally fall. It's a simple little pause that can stop you from standing up right as a heavy picture frame slides off a shelf. Just stay down, take a breath, and count.
Okay, your minute is up. You are now your own first responder. First, check yourself for injuries. Then check on everyone else around you. Then, and please do this before you start walking around, put on a pair of sturdy shoes. There is going to be broken glass everywhere. Then you're looking for secondary dangers like small fires or the smell of gas. And you have to remember, be prepared for aftershocks. They will happen. You have to be ready to drop, cover, and hold on all over again.
This one is so important. Everybody's first instinct is going to be to grab their phone and call their loved ones. You have to resist that urge. If everyone makes a call at the same time, the cell network will instantly crash, and that could prevent someone with a life-threatening injury from getting through to 911. A simple text message uses way less bandwidth and has a much better chance of getting through. Okay, that's all you need. Keep those phone lines clear for emergencies.
Okay, you've made it through the immediate aftermath. Now you need good, reliable information. The power is probably out. Your cell service might be spotty. So knowing where to turn for official instructions is the final, crucial piece of your preparedness puzzle.
Let's talk about the tech you can use to stay in the loop. First, there's the official BC Emergency Alert System. You don't have to sign up for it. It's automatic. It'll push the most critical warnings, like for a tsunami, right to your phone. For more local info and instructions, you can download a free app called Alertable. You can customize that one a bit more. Honestly, you should probably have both.
But you know, in a big disaster, our fancy tech can be pretty fragile. That's why an old-school, hand-crank radio is still the gold standard for every emergency kit. It doesn't need power, doesn't need batteries, and look at that last point. It might be the most important one of all. In those first few hours, maybe even days, your greatest resource is going to be your community, the people on your street. So maybe get to know your neighbors now before you really need each other.
So there you have it. Your playbook is written. You know the risk, you know what to do before, during, and after. But knowing is only half the battle. The other half is practice. It's building that muscle memory so you don't even have to think. Events like the Great BC Shakeout are your chance to turn this plan into pure instinct. The real question isn't just if you're prepared, it's are you practiced? Because remember, the ant didn't just have a plan for winter, it spent all summer putting that plan into action. The shaking will be the test, and the time to prepare for it is now.